Chapter 3. The Fracture. They burst from the Elder's Hollow into a chaos the forest had not seen in generations. The glade's grass had split open in a jagged wound from the grand oak to the market bridge, the familiar square, lantern posts, baker's stall, the shops. They all were now just a rim around a yawning crack. Roots hung in the air like ropes. Soil crumbled into a darkness so deep it swallowed light. Cries rose everywhere. "Hold on!" a badger shouted, lying flat at the edge, paws locked around a squirrel's wrists. "Rope! Get a rope!" someone yelled from the bridge. Children clung to exposed roots halfway down, whimpering as dirt rained past their faces. A hedgehog elder tried to lower a ladder, but the rungs knocked against the wall and spun uselessly. Eldan didn't wait. He dropped to his belly and slid toward a dangling sapling whose roots had torn free. A little dormouse, eyes wide with terror, clutched the tangle and stared up at him. "Don't worry, I've got you," Eldan called, voice gentle. "Look at me, not the hole." "I can't feel the ground," the dormouse sobbed. "That's because you're flying." "It's very impressive," he winked. "On 3, I tug, you climb." The elder thudded beside him, talons digging into the turf. "Take my sash," he said, unwinding a length of woven bark. They looped it around the roots like a harness. 1, 2, 3. Eldan heaved. The dormouse scrambled, paws slipping, then found a hold. With a final pull, Eldan rolled backward, and the mouse tumbled into his arms, small and shaking. Cheers broke like rain. Across the square, Melly Brooktail was already directing a rescue line at the crack's narrowest point. "You! Hold his legs! You brace the cart! Don't look at me like that! This cart's sturdier than your backbone!" She threw Eldan a quick look, relief and worry warring in her eyes. He gave her a nod and moved on. Another cry. Higher. Thinner. 2 baby foxes were wedged together beneath a twisted root. Eldan slid down until dirt packed under his claws. The root creaked ominously. "Eldan," the elder warned. "I know." Eldan pressed a paw to the root. He didn't listen for words. He listened for movement. The wood thrummed faintly, a heartbeat out of rhythm, but still alive. He counted the thrum. 1, 2, lift. With the elder levering alongside him and a dozen paws on the rope, they tilted the root just enough for the foxes to wiggle free. Small bodies were passed hand to hand up the line until Melly hauled them to safety and shoved warm loaves into their paws for comfort. "Bread solves most things," she muttered, eyes wet. The ground gave a groan, and a fist of soil fell away, exposing more of the abyss. A lantern toppled and shattered. Oil flared, then sputtered out in the thin air. The fountain at the far end gurgled once and went silent, as if ashamed to make noise. Over the din, a different sound slithered, soft, coaxing, almost kind. "Be still," the whisperer breathed within Eldan's chest. "See how quiet pain becomes when you stop moving." For a heartbeat, Eldan froze. The square did look calmer where the crack was widest. No scrambling there, no shouting, no one left to save, just stillness. "No," he whispered, angry at himself. "No." He forced himself to breathe with the trembling root under his paw. This is not peace. This is the absence of it. A rope slid into his hands. He tied a quick hitch and signaled the line to pull. Another hedgehog rose from the dark, spines full of dust, coughing. Applause scattered around the rim like sudden birds. Bit by bit, the square emptied of danger. The last pair, a fox and her elderly father, made it up with the elder's sash biting into their waists. When they rolled onto the grass, the old fox laughed shakily and then burst into tears. Melly crouched beside her, murmuring nonsense in a soothing voice until laughter returned. Silence fell at last, but this time it was the clean kind that comes after effort, the kind that lets hearts catch up to their bodies. Eldan sat back on his heels, arms throbbing. Dirt streaked his spikes. Across the gap, lantern light trembled along the torn edges of earth. The elder stepped to the very lip of the crack and peered down. "Not a cave-in," he said softly. "A parting." The ground didn't fall. It drifted apart. Melly picked up a stone and dropped it. Everyone listened. It struck nothing. No clatter, no splash. Only a long sigh of air. "That's not how ground works," Melly whispered. "It is how realms work when their connection loosens," the elder replied. His eyes found Eldan. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the owl gave a single heavy nod. Eldan looked at the faces clustered around the rim, the soot-smudged hedgehog, the trembling foxes wrapped in Melly's flowery apron, the badger, rubbing his scraped forearms and pretending not to sniff. He felt the thread fragment in his satchel, pulsing faintly against his side, like a second, uncertain heartbeat. He understood. He stood, legs shaking only a little, and helped rebuild what could be rebuilt. Carts were righted. Ropes were knotted in tidy coils for next time, though no one said the words "next time" aloud. Someone hammered stakes and stretched a warning line around the crack's edge. The elder organized watches in case the ground shifted again. When there was nothing else to fix, the square settled into a brittle calm. Parents gathered their children. Lanterns were relit and hung low. Melly pressed a warm mug of pine tea into Eldan's paws. He hadn't realized how cold he was until the heat bit his tongue. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome," she replied, then studied him with that look that always saw more than he wanted to admit. "You're leaving," he exhaled. How did she always know what was on his mind? "I think I have to." "You think?" She tilted her head. "Or you know." He looked at the crack, at the darkness that did not echo. "I know." Eldan the hedgehog always told his best friend everything. So he shared the mystery of this task with her too. Melly's mouth wobbled. She hid it in briskness. "Then we're not saying goodbye tonight. Come at dawn. I'll pack for you. And you're taking the acorn." "The acorn?" She rummaged in her apron. and brought out a tiny locket, woven of bark fibers and moss thread, sealed with a bead of amber resin shaped like an acorn cap. Inside, something rattled softly when she shook it. "A seed from your garden," she said, "for luck, for home, for planting, if you have to make one somewhere else." He swallowed. "Melly, no speeches." She thrust it into his paw. "Sleep, dawn. Bring rope." The elder joined them, feathers gray with dust. "I will meet you at the old bridge," he said. "We will speak once more before you go." His eyes strayed to the crack, and for a heartbeat the old owl looked very tired. "The world is untying itself, Eldan." "Then we'll tie it back," Eldan replied, surprising himself with the certainty in his voice. The elder's beak curved, not quite a smile. "We shall try." They dispersed slowly. The last lanterns were snuffed. Families carried their sleeping children home. Melly squeezed Eldan's paw hard, and then vanished down the path with her basket banging against her hip. Eldan stood alone at the edge of the crack. Far below, he thought he saw a faint shimmer, like a single filament of gold caught in a breath of air. He touched the acorn locket to his chest and felt the seed tap gently against the shell. "Be still," the whisperer murmured, softer than ever. "Think how easy it would be." He closed his eyes. "Peace isn't easy," he said. "It's earned and kept." When he opened them, the shimmer had gone. He turned toward home, through a forest that seemed to be listening again, warily, but listening all the same.